Hello everyone, my name is Patcha and welcome to this week's special episode for the Eurasia Animal Pack. This is our second episode for the Eurasia Animal Pack. We had one before for the Sloth Bear, and yeah, if you remember from, or if you not remember, but if you know what I did for the Oceania pack, there I had 4 episodes, each one dedicated to one of the animals from that pack, building a special habitat that you, my friends, can then afterwards, after this video goes live, you can download from the workshop and place in your own zoo, a fully built habitat basically with everything the animals need, or everything I think they would need, and then you can just place it in your zoo. You can put in the animals, and you are done. And this one is another one of these episodes. And as you can already see in the footage in front of you, today we are building for the Takin, or also called the cattle chamois or the gnu goat. There are different names for this very weird goat animal that we are building here, that was part of the Eurasia Animal Pack, which was released last year around Christmas. And yeah, why does this episode come so late? Because as I explained in my last video from last week, I was in my winter break and now I'm back, so everything is a little bit delayed and a little bit later than usual. Otherwise, of course, these videos would have been out way before that. But yeah, we built today for the Takin. As I already said, you can actually find the link to the workshop page of this habitat down in the description of this video. Or on most of the discords I'm in. So if you are in a Discord I'm also part of, then you will also find the link to the workshop there. It will be a zoo workshop, so you don't find it if you download under the blueprint section in your own zoo. You have to go to your zoo saves, and then you go there to the blueprints or the workshop section of the zoo saves, and there you should find mine. I usually do that because sometimes boundaries and habitat perimeters can be a little bit wonky with my habitats, because I also build outside of the main habitat and build a little bit for the paths or a little bit of decoration around, and that way I don't want to miss anything out. And so you can decide yourself if you want to have the full habitat, if you just want to use some part of the habitat, and then you can blueprint it yourself. But usually I try to make the boundaries or the barriers of this habitat in that way that you just have to make a workshop object out of it, and then you can just transport it over to your part or to your park. And everything is on ground level with the paths, so there shouldn't also be a problem with that. But let's talk about the exhibit. Exactly, we are building for the Takin, and this exhibit design that you see in front of you with these almost terrace levels of ground is inspired by the Henry Dorley Zoo in the USA, an amazing zoo from what I've seen and what I heard. And there they cohabitate their Takins with the Tar, which is another member of the Caprinae family, so the goat and sheep family, which Takin is also a member of, and also one of the biggest members next to the musk ox. So they have 2 different species in that habitat. We just have the Takin here, so in its dimensions it's made a little bit smaller fittingly for the Takin, and it's basically divided into 2 parts. First we have what we are building now at the moment, these these terrace-like different levels of grass and terrain, much like a little bit of a hillside basically. And then in a moment we will build a more rocky part of this exhibit, more similar to the Himalayan mountains where these animals are from, where they are found in some parts. So we will build like a rock wall that they can scale with waterfall, which will look really, really cool in the end. And then we also built a nice viewing platform on top of this rock formation, basically, where you can look down on the animals and also can look down a little bit in the valley, basically, into the other viewing points, but not in the way that you totally see all the viewing points of the down there. It is a little bit obscured through the rock walls. But yeah, we're building at the moment a little bit on the visitor sides with these outcrops, these inlets basically for the visitors where they can get up close to the animals. And I checked, and it's very similar to what the Henry Doorleys do. The animals can get very up close to the guests there, but since there is a moat or a ditch between the guests and the animals, they can't really get over the fence, basically, as we're building later. But yeah, at the moment we are building, as I said, the rock wall with a lot of faux rocks, which I always like to do. And then what I would like to do, what you will see later, is I build the basic construction of these faux rocks, which I want, build it in the shape that I want, in the general shape that I want, and then I go in with the real rocks and lay them on top or in with these faux rocks, basically to create more of a fluid transition between the faux rocks and the real rocks, and also use the colors that match the real rock colorations as close as possible. You will see it in the second. It takes sometimes a little bit of try and error to get the real coloration done, but at this moment I already have kind of experience and kind of already an idea of what the colors have to be. You see me adjusting this a little bit more even here, and then you see me building now the real rocks to mix and match them basically. And then if the color is then corrected in the last step, it almost looks like a mixture between them that you would maybe see in the real zoo. I mean, Frontier already did a great job with the faux rocks, but if the pieces wouldn't be that gigantic, and if you would have some more variation, it would even be better. But we have to build with what we have basically. And another quick, I think, as it is part of my, now I'm correcting the color and now it matches it even more better. But yeah, it's a thing that is almost became a staple on my channel now. It's a bit of information or obscure fact about the animals we are building for. I always try to do that basically because I'm a teacher, as some of you might know, so I'm a real teacher. That is my job in my real life basically. And then since this basically means I'm trying to teach a little bit of stuff. And as I said before, the Takin is one of the biggest members of the goat family, together with the musk ox. And since they look very similar in horn shape and their bulky appearance, it was for a long time thought that the Takin is part of the musk ox family, that they're basically very closely related. And only recently it has been, I think it was even in the 2000er years, through genetics and experiments, it has been determined that they are not very closely related, and that in fact Takins are more closely related to sheep, so to our normal house sheep, normal farm sheep, and to general sheep species, also wild sheep species. So the Takin is not close related to the musk ox, and they look very similar because they exhibit something which is called convergent evolution. If you had biology classes and you maybe have heard of that, or you had evolution in your school days, then you might know what convergent evolution is. If not, I can quickly explain it. Convergent evolution means that two species who are not close related to each other almost share identical features or even body forms basically, and have similar adaptations, similar evolutionary adaptations to their surroundings, which can lead to the impression that they are related to each other, which often they are not. So, for example, certain animals that burrow into the ground, their hands have been by evolution transformed into more of shovel-like hands. For example, certain crickets and, as we all know, moles have these shovel hands. And since both animals which are not closely related, share similar traits, we speak of convergent evolution, so that two animals from totally different groups develops the same features basically. And the same goes for the Takin and the musk ox, which share both this very bulky build and these big horns that they have, which is otherwise not very much found in the goat kingdom, I should say, not animal kingdom, but goat kingdom. As usual, goats are a bit more, fragile. They're a bit more, they have smaller horns. Basically, they can have giant horns, but not these big, bulky horns, basically. So they look very much alike, but are not closely related to each other. And Takins itself are very high endangered. Sadly, they live in, I think, all 4 species. We have 4 Takin species that we know of, which are the Mishmi Takin, the Golden Takin, the Tibetan or Sichuan Takin, and the Bhutan Takin. All of them are listed as vulnerable or even endangered in China, for example, because of habitat loss, because of hunting, because of traditional medicine in some places in Asia, which is very sadly. And I'm happy that Frontier decided to add them to the game to raise awareness of these animals. The one species that we have in game, as the community decided, is closest resemblance of the Sichuan Takin, which is also, I think, one of the more common Takin species in zoos worldwide. So, and I think also my personal favorite of the Takin species, because the only one I ever saw in a zoo, and this was in Berlin Zoo. Last year I had my first time seeing a Takin in real life, and I can tell you they are gigantic. If you haven't seen a Takin yet in real life, maybe I hope you will have the luck to do that, but they are gigantic. If you don't know what to expect, you can be very surprised by that, how big they are and how bulky they are, which of course fits the adaptations of their environment, which being the highlands of China and the Himalayan mountains. So they need to have this bulk and this mass to survive there. What did I want to say? Yeah, they are threatened, and it is very sad that people still to this day use animal parts as traditional medicine. I know it has a long tradition. I know there's a lot of stuff more to it than just that, but keep killing animals for some dubious ideas and dubious effects that their parts seem to have is just never speaking of progress in my eyes. But back from this sad topic, now back to the exhibit. We are now, of course, need shelter for these animals, and as you may know in this video or notice the video, I will not build a full backstage building for these animals. For once, because it's on a hillside, and I want to make this hill even bigger, because as I said, I want to upload this exhibit to the workshop, and even more terrain transformation, so it would make it also more difficult for you to place this exhibit in your zoo. The hill isn't that high, so it's not that you need an entire mountain for this exhibit, but still I wanted to keep it as small as possible with the elevation. And that's why I decided mainly to not build a backstage habitat, and otherwise the video would just have been even longer. I'm building a complete habitat from scratch here. I don't want to have you sit here for 45 minutes or even more for this habitat. I want to have that you can watch it in a quick free time when you have a little bit of time for yourself. So 25 minutes, 27 minutes is my maximum goal for these videos usually. So I decided not to build a backstage area. If you wanted to build a backstage area, I have also some backstage fences on the workshop that work very well also for Takins, from what I've seen on Google on Google Pictures, on Zoo Pictures. So if you're already there and downloading this habitat, maybe also look into my backstage fence sets. I think I have 2 or so on the workshop, so you can also use that to build your own backstage for the Takins, which shouldn't be that complicated. They don't need some special adaptations for the backstage, and normal hoofstock backstage should be more than enough. But we also, of course, use plants native to the area, so plants from the highlands of Asia, some birches here, and some conifers. And we also need to secure these conifers, because Takins are first of all, they're grazers. So they eat shrubbery, not the other one, not the grazers. Grazers would eat grass. They eat shrubs and leaves and such things. So they would damage these trees, and also they like to rub their bodies against trees to deploy scent marks there. And so we have to at least secure these trees that are in the habitat with something so that the Takins don't destroy them. But yeah, as usual, now we are in the part where I built all the foliage, and I wanted to have to look at really grassy and really lush. And as the Henry Dorley Zoo exhibit is also really lush with a lot of grass, because Takins usually don't eat much of grass, they eat shrubs and leaves and such things, so they usually leave the lower foliage and grass is intact, so we can have that amount of grass here. But yeah, I will now leave you with the rest of the video, with the rest of the speed build, with some nice music, and then I see you at the end of the video with the real-time part where we look at the complete exhibit in motion, in real time, with the animals and everything. So stay tuned for that, and I hope so far you had a lot of fun. So here we are now in the real-time part, as said, and as yeah, it seems it was feeding time just a moment ago. Ignore all the trees here in the background. This is just for some screenshots later on, so the background doesn't look as empty on these screenshots. But yeah, perfect example. We can get really close to the Takin, and I have to say, I'm really loving how this habitat turned out in the end. In the beginning, I wasn't too sure while I'm watching this Takin scratching on the tree, on the scratching post over there. In the beginning, I wasn't too sure if it would work, how I wanted it to work, how it would look with all the different levels and elevations and stuff like that. But I have to say, I'm really happy. I'm really happy how it turned out. After some tweaking here and there, I'm very amazed by it. And yeah, I think that is something very positive if you yourself can be happy about your own creation. That already shows that you did a good job, and I'm happy with it. If you also like it, I'm even more happy. But yeah, if you can happy with yourself, that is already the first step. But yeah, let's talk about this exhibit. As I said, we have two parts here. We have this more hilly area, this more meadow area over here. Yeah, where the Takins are now feeding over there. And then on this side we have this more rocky, mountainish area over there with more rocks and stuff like that, which the Takins can in fact climb on certain parts, which I can show if it lets me show you. We can also have another viewpoint over here. So for example, we can say I want to Takin over there. They can stand, they cannot also get down from there, which I think is really nice. They can also stand on the waterfall. It's really cool. So yeah, they can use it to a degree, basically. Not fully, because then some parts would have need to be bigger or less steep. But yeah, you guys can see they can jump over there and then get to the rest of the area. But yeah, also really like these different viewpoints over here. These two that are more closer to the Takins, so you get a really up close view on them. And then you have this more wider set over here where you can get a nice look onto the waterfall. And you see this little platform over here, so you know there is something up there, so you are drawn to this and you follow the path. And yeah, this is not you would have to continue the zoo here or have another exhibit here if you plan to place it in your own zoo. But yeah, you can come up here to this little platform, and then you have an top down view if you don't fall down of the targets. There is no path in here, so your guests can't get up here naturally, because it wouldn't work with how steep the stairs are and how close it is to the terrain and such things. So beware of that there is no actual path in here, so it's only for the looks basically. But yeah, you get a nice view on the whole upper level of this area on the targets if they are up here. If there would be a backstage area, of course you would also see that. Maybe another exhibit over here with some other mountain animal, maybe with the ibex or the Dall sheep, something like that would be really cool, I think, and also fitting. Or something Asian, like a red panda, for example, or a giant panda, because they share the same habitat as the giant panda, and also feed on bamboo if they can. But yeah, really happy how the whole habitat turned out and how it looks. And as I said, the Takin is a really unique animal in its own right, and it deserves to have an awesome habitat for itself. But yeah, let me know, guys, what you think of this habitat, how you like the video itself. For example, if you enjoyed the video, maybe consider giving it a like and maybe even subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. It would really make my day, would make me really happy. And yeah, maybe also consider downloading the exhibit or the habitat from the workshop. As I said, you will find it down in the description if you want to have it. It is a zoo file, not a blueprint file, so you have to go to your zoo saves and then to this the workshop section, and then go into the zoo, blueprint it as a habitat for yourself, and then place it in your own zoo. But yeah, maybe you won't consider doing that. I would be really happy about that, and then of course a like on the workshop page. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I also hope I see you next week for the next video, and that until then you stay safe, you have a great time, and that I see you next week. Until then, bye bye everyone.